Previously on Pain Flacco.
I just have to talk to you guys about this deck here real quick. If you are playing RP Law right now, I think it might be time for you to drop the deck. Look, if I was a betting man, I'm gonna tell you right now, it's time for you to drop RP Law. They're about to murder this thing. In my opinion, if you guys are wondering what I think they're gonna ban, I feel like they're gonna ban the leader. I feel like they're just gonna ban the leader because it limits card design. Pretty much what it is. It limits card design. You can't print anything else without you thinking about RP Law, kind of like Sakazuki. So if they are continuing that trend, I feel like this leader will get banned, then it will get a Rada maybe in another structure deck. This leader will get banned, then it will get a Rada maybe in another structure deck.
This leader will get banned, then it will get a Rada maybe in another structure deck. So if you guys are playing RP Law, I think it might be time to jump ship after you're done going to your regionals.
You can get it. Marvelous.
Yo, what's good? Welcome back to the channel, y'all. And look. The time has finally came. The time has finally came. We have just now gotten our ban list for the One Piece TCG card game. It may not be TCG, but this is the ban list that will be coming and hitting the states when it does come. A lot of people ask me, when does this, ban list actually go in effect? Some people think it's coming in OP08. I'm telling you right now, we're probably not going to get this ban list until OP09. It doesn't make sense for us to get a ban list that, the Japanese players are going to get 2 weeks later. It doesn't make any sense. So we still probably going to be playing RP Law, but let's say by some miraculous reason they give us a ban list when OP08 comes out. This will be the tier list. This is the tier list that you need to watch. RP Law ban, Enies Lobby ban. Let's go ahead and get straight to the content. But before I start, I need to tell you guys one thing. I need to shout out my very first member on the channel, gang. Yes sir, your skis. Hey, shout out to my man Brooke for becoming the very first channel member on the channel, man. Thank you so much. If you guys do want to become a channel, go ahead into the description, hit the channel link, become a member, become a jit delinquent, man, on the gang. You guys already know what the time is, man. But yeah, without further ado, let's go ahead and get straight into it, man. As you guys see on the screen right now, we have the tier list. If you guys never been in any of my tier lists, let me go ahead and break down all the columns that we do have. We have Shice, we have A1, we have Brazy, we have Cold, and we have Dog Water. If you guys do not understand what these rankings mean, let's go all the way back up to the top. Shice is tier 1. It used to be tier 0, but now it's tier 1 because there's so many viable decks that are now available. Next is A1, which is tier 2. Brazy's tier 3. Cold is tier 4 or Rogue, and then Dog Water is just absolutely trash.
Trash! Know your fucking place, trash. Fucking robots.
I gotta keep it a stack of you guys. More than likely, there's not gonna be a lot of trash cards on this tier list because ever since RP Law is out of the game, a lot of things aren't gatekept. Now, let's go ahead and start and talk about the most problematic leader everybody's talking about ever since the ban list. We need to talk about Nami. Everybody's saying Nami's gonna be good, the best deck, XYZ. Before we get into that, we are just going to put this in Dog Water because we are just going to roast the living shit out of this deck because there's so many Nami players that try to talk crap, but they should not be talking when they're playing this trash ass deck, this slow ass deck, this solitaire ass deck, this I'm gonna play myself ass deck, this I'll rather watch paint dry than play this deck, this Bacon Robbins ass deck.
You just mad because you don't know the matchup.
Nigga, we know the matchup. Nobody just wants to play against this boring ass deck.
No!
When people play this deck, I'm on my phone. When people play this deck, I have the best sleep in my life. Oh, you're done? This boring ass deck. This is the most worst deck in the game. I don't care if you like it or not. It's getting roasted into the ground. If you guys have some roast for this Nami deck, put it below. Most worst deck I've ever seen, but I have to call it a spade a spade. I can't lie about my tier list. This deck right here probably has to be... Honestly, bro, I think this might be the best deck of the format. There's only 2 decks that counter this deck. And one of them always loses to Lucci, which is ďuuⱠⱠFlamingo. The only deck that really counters this deck, and the stocks have really gone up, I'll talk to you about it in a minute. It's probably has to be Jourdu. We'll talk about that. I feel like Jourdu is actually a top tier deck. I feel like it's a tier 1 deck now that RP Law isn't out. But Nami, since RP Law is out, literally RP Law gate kept this Nami deck. But the fact that RP Law got banned, I feel like Nami's just gonna run crazy. Okay, especially if we do not get this list, or let's say we do get this list for OP08, I don't see anything stopping Nami. Nami will be probably the strongest deck of the format. I hate to say it. The only deck I can really stand a chance against Nami has to be this Jourdu, and I'm gonna tell you why. The reason why Jourdu is gonna be so good, or any blue decks that can really play this deck, is because of Gion. Gion pretty much just shits on Nami, but there's only 2 decks that can play it, and the only other deck that can play that is Dofi, and he loses to Lucci and Gecko. So the only deck that can really handle Nami, and I wouldn't even say handle or can even really deal with it with Gion, has to be Jourdu. Jourdu stocks has gone up. Before, in a lot of my previous videos, I told you that Jourdu, purple blue Jourdu, is probably one of the best budget decks. I don't know if it's still budget, but ever since this ban list, Jourdu stocks have gone up. I feel like it's a tier 1 deck. I feel like it's one of the top 5 decks. There's going to be a lot of tier 1 decks in this list, but moving forward, if we do get this list for OP08, Jourdu, purple blue Jourdu is definitely a force to be reckoned with. So if you guys do want to see a how to beat video on Jourdu, let me know and I'll be able to take care of you guys. The next deck that we have, it's Perona. Perona did not lose Gecko. I still think it's the top of tier 2. Top of tier 2. I don't think it's a tier 1 deck. Like I said earlier, the main reason why I'm putting some things in tier 2 is because you do need a skill pilot. The tier 1 decks are kind of like autopilot. They're so strong you don't really need the dink type decks, just like this trash ass deck, this boring ass deck, this sleepy time ass deck right here. But Perona, very, very good. Just being able to spam out Gecko, rest a character on your turn if it's a 4 cost or less. Being able to accumulate a lot of draws with the green side of this deck. I feel like Perona, if you guys do like Perona, it's a very solid deck. You just need to be a very, very skilled pilot to be able to go far in a tournament. And I'm talking about like a, 8, 9, 10 rounder tournament. Okay, so strong deck, but you just need to have a skilled pilot. And the next deck we're going to talk about is, you guys already know what the move is, man. It's YGOD, Yellow Gang or Die. YGOD, that's on the gang, man. Shout out to all my delinquents.
Gang, gang.
Nothing happened with Fennel. Nothing got banned with Yellow. I know a lot of people saying Big Ace is gonna get hit and Flampy gonna get hit. Suck my balls.
Suck my balls, suck my balls, my balls, suck and drag.
Enel, nothing happened with Enel. I'm a Yellow fan. Even though I feel like Enel may not be the best deck, it's still a tier 1 deck. Nothing got hit. Everything's the same. The only thing we changed with our Yellow deck for all my YGOD members is the sleeves. That's the only thing we changed. New format, time to change the sleeves. That's the only thing that's the only thing we really need to worry about, gang. That is literally the only thing we need to worry about. YGOD, nothing got hit with Enel, still a threat to be messed with. And yeah, that's all I gotta say about Enel, man. The next deck I have to talk about is Gecko. Since Gecko Moria did not get hit, I feel like this is now the best black deck out here. It's mono black deck. I feel like Gecko Moria just being able to just rip a card from your hand every single turn with the Perona effect as well. And there's also a couple other decks that people were playing that I'll see where it literally just rips out all your hand. It's actually nasty. Gecko still remains untouched, and it's actually seen a resurgence of players in the current meta for OP07 right now. So Gecko and OP08, if we do end up getting this ban list, I feel like Gecko is the best mono black deck. Fact, not an opinion. I feel like there's really no debate about that, okay? Next deck we have is Red Zoro. I'm putting Red Zoro in the Brazy. Rushing deck is a rushing deck. I mean, the only way this deck can really probably be good is maybe into Nami. Nami really struggles with rushing the opponent down with big monsters. That's the reason why, RP Law was, keeping this deck in check. But at the moment, I have to say that Zoro's just really not that strong. Decent red deck, but if you're going to play Zoro, you might as well play Whitebeard. Nothing else I really need to say. Next deck we have is Black and Yellow Luffy, another top deck that actually skipped the ban list. For sure, I thought they were going to hit Gecko, but since Gecko Moria did not get hit, Black and Yellow Luffy is still a top tier meta threat. Fact, not an opinion, y'all. It's already been doing well on OP07. It's been doing well on OP08 in the East with Japan type of metas. While RP Law was even going on. So Black and Yellow Luffy, very, very strong deck. I don't really see anything changing with this deck. It's still very viable. And as you guys can see, there's going to be a lot of tier 1 decks. I feel like if we get this actual ban list in OP08, you know, and we don't have to wait, this might be one of the best metas we have ever had, except for the trash ass deck Nami. So Black and Yellow Luffy, very, very strong deck. Let's go ahead and continue to the next, you know, deck. Lucci, I'm gonna put at the top of tier 2. I feel like with the hit of Innie's Lobby, if you guys haven't seen about Lucci, usually when they do not see their stage, they are really, really slow and they're really, really far behind. I watched the whole entire tournament yesterday when I was streaming. If you guys did not see the stream, go ahead and check it out. Probably the best stream you've ever seen in your life. But there was a couple of Lucci players that were playing, and when they did not see their event, a lot of times they lost. So this event really hurts them a lot. Lucci isn't particularly dead, but now I think you just need to be a skilled pilot to really play this deck at a high level. It could be at the back of Shiest, but at the moment, I'm gonna put it at the top of tier 2 just until I see what it does. The next deck that got really, really buff with the RP Law ban and also the Lucci ban is ďauⱠⱠ I'm not really putting these in any order, except for this Nami right here. Nami right here is the only one, but all these other decks, I feel like they're all on the same level. Maybe Dofi's a little bit higher up, to be real with you, probably like right here. Between these two decks, I mean, they're interchangeable, but I feel like Dofi, very, very strong deck. It got a lot of support with the structure deck coming out, with the Warlords of the Sea. It's a very, really base deck, swarms the field. And even when we were watching the stream, there was actually a couple Dofi players that was in, you know, the tournament late game, and they're still doing well against the crazy RP Law. If you guys do like blue decks, like blue's my second favorite color, and if you guys do like rushing the board, Dofi is definitely a deck you need to pick up. So go ahead and check out those cards right now, because it's definitely a shiest ass deck. Okay, the next deck that we're going to be talking about in OP08 that a lot of people's not talking about is called ďauⱠⱠ. I feel like this is another YGOD member. Yellow Gang or Die, you guys already know how we getting, and I feel like this is actually this is like a watered down version of RP Law. I've been playing ďauⱠⱠ for a little bit, and this deck is actually very, very good. The only problem that I see with this deck is that if you don't see a Nolan, the fact that Nolan that is not searchable is the only hindrance. But everything else, this deck is very, 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 very base, man. I really do like it. If I wasn't playing an L, I'll play ďauⱠⱠ, but right now I'm just playing an L. But these are two very, very crazy decks. If I had to say which deck is better, you know, when it comes to yellow, I feel like, you know, I'll probably say an L's better, just because it can control and it can last. But if you just like rush down and just destroying your opponent, kind of like how RP Law did, this is the type of deck. So this is a rushing type version of the yellow deck, and this is a balanced version of a yellow deck. But in my opinion, overall, when it comes to longevity, I feel like this deck will be better. Only reason why is because, like I said, if you guys don't see your Nolans in this deck, you kind of get hurt very, very badly. So besides that, still very base ass deck. The next deck we have is R Green Law. R Green Law did get a buff when OP08. There's some new cards getting added for R Green Law. Very, very strong deck. It actually performed at OP07 already, so it's already done numbers. But you need to be a skilled pilot. There's a reason why you don't see this deck that often, and the main reason why is because you have to be a skilled pilot, especially played against all these other threats of a deck. The main reason why R Green Law was so hindered is because of Lucci. Lucci got nerfed, and really, you know, red purple Law. So the fact that red purple Law is not here, I feel like this deck can shine. Is it better than Perona? I probably don't think so. I still think it's probably right here. And yeah, that's just my opinion on that. The next deck we have is Boa. Like I said earlier, if you could play that broken blue card I said earlier in Guam, this is the deck you need to play. Or that deck, but color you need to play. Very, very base deck, strong deck. But if I had to, you know, use my personal feelings on blue, you either need to be playing Reiju or you need to play ďauⱠⱠ. You can't be playing Boa if you're a simp, but these two decks just do it better, in my opinion. Next deck we have is Marco. Marco could be in tier 1, but I'm just gonna put it at, I'll probably put it right behind Lucci. I'll put Marco right behind Lucci. But and the only reason why I'm putting this right behind Lucci because you need to be a skilled pilot. Okay, these decks in tier 1 or tier 2, I'm sorry, these decks aren't necessarily bad. It's just in order for these decks to work, you have to be a skilled pilot. You can't just pick up this deck like any of these other decks up here and just know a couple of lines and just win a tournament. You actually need to know the ins and outs of your deck. These decks all right here can all be tier 1 if its skilled pilot is actually using these decks. Fact, not an opinion. So I'm gonna put this in tier 2 at the moment, right behind Lucci, but you can't really argue with Marco, man. It has the blue side where it can bottom deck, the rush side with the red side. It has the Marco where it always reborns itself. You're getting the Rayleigh support. You already have some broken Whitebeard support for the deck already. Marco's a strong option if you are looking for that deck to be used, man. Next deck we have is Yamato. I hear some people saying Yamato's back on the menu. I honestly don't think so. Compared to all these other decks, I feel like Yamato is still, it might be the top of Brazy, in my opinion. Still might be the top of Brazy. I don't really see this deck doing too much to just keep it a stack of few. Very, very good deck, but you know, the main reason why this deck struggles so much is because of blockers. Sabo didn't get hit, and since Sabo did not get hit, I feel like, you know, this deck is still just going to struggle. Okay, it doesn't matter if RP Law is here or Black Lucci, Mono Lucci's here. This deck struggles against blockers, and without some of the most broken blockers being out the game like Marco and Sabo, this deck still struggles. Even Yellow has some great blockers with Shirahoshi. Next that we have is you know, Purple Luffy. This might be an undiscovered. I'm gonna put this in cold, not necessarily because it's bad, it's because it's undiscovered, but in my personal opinion, I feel like it could be a little bit higher. But for right now, we're gonna put it in cold. They aren't gate kept by Red Purple Law, and then you know, just purple in general in the next set is just getting a crazy amount of support. This deck is really undiscovered. I don't really know too much about this deck, but I've seen it in play, and just by seeing some of the interactions, I see like Purple Luffy can have a chance if somebody can crack the code and figure out, you know, the correct build and how to play it. So, you know, time will tell if this deck will show up, but in my opinion, I'm gonna put it in cold, pretty much undiscovered. It's not necessarily, you know, tier 2 or tier 3. It's really rogue undiscovered. Next deck we have is Katakuri. Where should I put this? I feel like Katakuri is probably the #1 deck in tier 2. I'll probably say, no, probably tier 3. Probably tier 3. Best deck in tier 3. It did take a back seat when it comes to, you know, OP08, just because we have better yellow users, to be honest with you guys. I mean, attacking for 7-8k every turn is really whatever at this point. It's kind of getting power crept out of the format. This deck is also abusing the Big Bomb. So Big Bomb, ever since Reject got banned, this deck is really taking a back seat. It's good, but you just have to see your triggers. That's what really this deck really boils down to. You really have to see your triggers, and by that chance, it's all based off RNG, you know what I mean? So it's really up in the air if, you know, this deck can really win or not. It's really depending on if it's your day. If it's the lottery for your yellow deck, then maybe it's the lottery for yellow deck. Another deck I feel like it's undiscovered with all these other decks going to be able to show is a Purple Red Luffy. I put this a little bit higher on my last tier list, but I thought about it, and you don't really see too much about, you know, with this deck or any of these purple decks, but I feel like these decks are strong, y'all. If you guys can find the code to make this deck work, and this is a valuable option. If you can crack the code and you can, you know, pilot it really well, this deck could be up here. But for right now, there hasn't been really a lot of tournament showings in the OP08 when it comes to the Japanese meta, and I feel like we still need to do some investigating to see what exactly we need to run in order to make this deck run. Still viable option if you guys still want to play Purple Red Luffy. Is still there. You guys just need to crack the code at this point. Next deck we have is Bonnie. I feel like Bonnie took a little bit of a backseat. I ain't gonna hold you. I feel like Bonnie may be the best deck of tier 2, to be honest with you. We could put it in tier 1, but you know, maybe it could be in the back of tier 1, but at that point we might as well put it in tier 2. Just having a built-in component effect, pretty much nullifying an attack on the opponent's side of the field is cool. You know, having a lot of draw with the green side of the deck, having Basil Hawkins, pretty much an indestructible blocker at 7k, and then also abusing the 8-drop Kid. Very, very strong deck. I feel like it may be the best deck of tier 2. It could be tier 1, but like I said, tier 1 is literally reserved for all these decks right here. Whitebeard, I feel like Whitebeard probably needs to be the best red deck, best mono red deck still. until OP09, since with OP09 it's coming out with the broken card of Gold D Roger. If you guys have not seen that video, check it out. If you guys do want to play Whitebeard and you guys are looking forward to OP09, this is the deck you need to be playing. If you guys play OP08 Whitebeard all the way through until OP09, when you actually get the broken support, you are going to be cooking everybody because you pretty much got everything down pat. You're comfortable with the deck. And I was telling people earlier during the stream, you can play a whole bunch of decks, but you need to master that one deck or just shit on everybody. You get what I'm saying? So if you guys do want to play Whitebeard, you guys do have to wait one more set. But heck, when OP09 comes around, Christmas is going to be here for us in the States around the world, and Christmas is going to be here for you in the card game as well, because you're going to be getting probably by far the most broken card ever printed in the One Piece TCG. Fact, not opinion. The next deck I'm going to be talking about has to be Purple Kaido. Purple Kaido is a very top deck, but like I said earlier, all these decks require a skilled pilot. You need to be a skilled pilot. I see a lot of people in my comments saying that, you know, I just don't really know how to understand how to play Purple Kaido. Purple Kaido is a very good deck, man. Very strong deck. It did get a whole bunch of support with the 9-drop Lin, the 10-drop Lin and Kaido. It does have Black Maria. I feel like it's probably I'll probably put it like right here. These are all skillful decks. If you guys want something challenging, and you guys want something that's gonna really push you to the limits and really know the ins and out to be on some skillful type shit, these are the decks you really need to focus on, because usually if you make one wrong play, the game is literally over. It really is just truly over. So very base deck. If you guys do want to try out, I feel like this is my favorite purple deck to watch, especially if a good player is playing it. So, and actually I'm gonna put Red Green Law right here. I'm gonna put Red Green Law right here, and I'm gonna put Yamato right here. There we go. I'm gonna put Yamato right here. So that looks more like it. That looks more like it. But yeah, man, the next deck that actually can maybe have some time to shine, and I feel like this is the back of tier 1, is Pudding. Pudding couldn't really do anything in the OP08 meta in Japan at the time of this card coming out, because it got gate kept by Red Purple Law. Red Purple Law was just too fast for this deck for it to really set up and really get things going with this deck. Being able to cheat out bigger cost monsters like the 9-drop Lin. They can even play the 10-drop Kaido Lin, the 10-drop Lin, the yellow mono. Very good deck. I feel like this deck can have some time to shine in the OP08 meta. And yeah, y'all, this is pretty much my ban list, y'all. Not my ban list, my tier list. I feel like this is gonna be the best decks. The big difference compared to what I made my ban list for OP08 a while back, it was literally only RP Law and everything else is scattered around. But ever since RP Law got hit and Enies Lobby got hit, I feel like this is the meta. I feel like Reiju, Dofi, Gecko, all these decks are all viable, but I feel like the best deck of the format is going to be Nami. And the best deck that's going to counter Nami is Reiju. Reiju stocks has gone up. If you bought Reiju what I told you to, it was extremely cheap, you won. You literally won. But I feel like this is my tier list. I feel like this is the best tier list that's going to come out for OP08 if we do get this meta. If we don't get this meta, I feel like this is still probably going to be the same. Actually, not going to be the same, because RP Law is just going to run everything. So, you know, this is just a tier list that I came up with. My opinion. I feel like this is the most proper list. I gave everybody some justice. So yeah, man, that's all I got. If you guys like the tier list below, let me know in the comments. Join my Discord, because that shit is the most littiest thing on the planet. Fact, not opinion, trying to build the community. And yeah, y'all, that's all I got. More content coming soon. Become a delinquent. Make sure you become a delinquent. Become a member, man. Go ahead and become a member. Support the channel. And yeah, that's all I got, y'all. But look, before I go, if you was feeling the vibes, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. It all gone.